know when the new hammocks will arrive? Jack can't see who is in the lake. Read and repeat. Right, well now let's look at noun clauses which begin with words that aren't question words. Have a look at these sentences, please. Do we need a new raft? Drew doesn't know if we need a new raft. Does that swimmer need help? The lifeguard is wondering whether that swimmer needs help. When a yes-no question is changed into a noun clause, we can use if or whether to introduce that noun clause. Yes or no question changes into a noun clause. We use if or whether. Okay, we can also use or not. Have a look at this example. Drew doesn't know if we need a new raft or not. Okay, so if we have if plus or not, then or not comes at the end of a sentence. Or not is at the end of the sentence. In this example, we're going to use whether. The lifeguard is wondering whether or not that swimmer needs help. So when we use whether plus or not, the or not can come after whether or at the end of the sentence. Okay, let's practice this now. Let's try making noun clauses with whether or if. Rosa, what was your biggest problem before going to camp?
My biggest problem was whether to bring my new clothes or not. If I got a hole in them, my parents would have been angry.
Okay, good. Lewis, now I know you never went to camp, so what did you worry about in the summer?
Well, some of my friends were from rich families. They went to camp. I never knew if there were going to be enough children to play football with.
I see. Monica, what was the worst thing about camp for you?
I was always wondering what I would do if it rained. I didn't like art, I didn't like crowds. I was lucky, it was always sunny.
Yeah, you were lucky. Good. Thank you very much, everyone. Now, I wonder whether or not we should look and listen. Yes, I think we should. Look and listen. The camp director doesn't know if Melanie is sick. The camp director doesn't know if Melanie is sick or not. George wonders whether Steve can swim to the raft. George wonders whether or not Steve can swim to the raft. Read and repeat. The last thing that we will look at today are noun clauses that begin with that. Here are some examples for you. She has decided that he is a good camp director. I'm afraid that the camp will be closed until June. Yesterday Larry was annoyed that the rowboat had only one oar. I'm sure that the water will be warm enough to swim in. Okay, in the first sentence, let's have a look. So we've got noun clauses with that. In the first sentence, that he is a good camp director. This is the noun clause. It's the object of the verb decided. That he's a good camp director, object of the verb decided. Now the second sentence, the noun clause is that the camp will be closed until June. This is our noun clause, and it's the object of the verb am afraid. Object of am afraid. I hope you can see that. Okay, the third sentence, our noun clause is that the rowboat had only one oar. That the rowboat had only one oar, and this is the object of the verb was annoyed. Object of was annoyed. And the final fourth sentence, the water will be warm enough to swim in. To swim in. This is the object of the verb am sure. Okay. Now many noun clauses begin with the word that, but sometimes, as in the fourth sentence, the word that can be omitted. We don't need to use it. This sentence was, I'm sure the water will be warm enough to swim in. We could say, I'm sure that the water will be warm enough to swim in, but we don't need to use it every time. Let's have a look at two more examples of that. I'll just make some space. I'm surprised that the children aren't roasting marshmallows. I'm surprised that the children aren't roasting marshmallows. This is our noun clause. We can also say, I'm surprised the children aren't roasting marshmallows. I'm surprised the children aren't roasting marshmallows. We don't need to use that. If we do use that, however, you know that this is the noun clause. The that means the start of the noun clause. Now, noun clauses often come after certain verbs. Let's have a look at some of these verbs that we use with noun clauses. To agree, to feel, to find, to hope, to know, to mention, to realize, to regret, to say, to tell, to think, and to understand. Sometimes the noun clause beginning with that can be the subject of a sentence. Have a look at these sentences, please. That the tent is empty is obvious. That camps are fun is a fact. Now in these two sentences, the noun clause is the subject. In the first sentence, that the tent is empty is the subject. And in the second sentence, that camps are fun, this is also the subject.